I have promised you eternal life. But know that eternity may only be attained by those who serve a purpose greater than themselves. All else is decay. So it was written in the hidden words before the beginning of time.
You're on the ball, Sheep. I feel the same way. Your name's definitely a misnomer. I think that's Osiris and Anubis. Keepers of the underworld would be appropriate here. This is wonderful. As I said, I never played the Serious Sam series, so I'm not yet jaded to vast desert expanses. The land of the dead, in such a beautiful state, Egyptian burial rites. It's like we're being acquainted with death, in the gentlest way possible. Ah, good on you, 8. Assuming that everything we're seeing is intentional, Alexandria, or whoever weighed in on the location, must have thought we'd need to accept the reality of death in the most cultured way possible. Speaking of which, I guess we're not the only ones experiencing this rewind functionality. It's good to know we do maintain the memories, even if it is another version. But if we do it too many times, who knows? I'm going to go out on a limb and say there probably isn't a fail state, but it's not really something I'm willing to test. And there's another terminal, but we're already bogged down with logs, so let's get on with them. The second text at the end of the last episode was the Book of the Scribe of Osiris, also known as the Journey to Aru, which is that whole only souls that weigh the same as the feather as the goddess Maat are allowed to progress to Aru, which means reeds. This journey is described in the text as a series of trials called the Duat, meaning underworld, which is necessary to reunite his life force and personality to become a living intellect. Again, it comes up that this could be considered an allegory for the world of the living. I'm not sure of the similarities with our situation. What is our life force? We're in a simulation, after all. Maybe we'll find out. The star here is practically thrown at our feet. I suppose we're being eased in slowly, or this room will provide a revelation, allowing us to go back to previous rooms, assuming we couldn't complete them. I'm sure at some point the solution will be to block the orb with the tripod that we're passing a laser through, but not this time. This puzzle is, as far as I can tell, all about positioning. Pretty crazy. I wonder if anyone had trouble with this room. I don't know whether what I did was a leap of logic or not. There's another room directly across, so this star's as easy as completing the other puzzle and then coming back here. The second log is an excerpt from E.A. Wallace Budge, a prolific Egyptologist from the mid-1800s. The text is again about a dying man, asking a scribe on the writings of the dead, what lies ahead of my journey? What will I face in the land of the Westerners? I've looked around, it's hard to get the exact transcription, but the text also comes with annotations, which I have to assume are original in this game. They very carefully throw a lot of, not doubt, but a sense of transition, adaptation over time. talking about changes in location, controversy that disappeared, who are these Westerners, and further mistranslations that we don't even see the text from. Whether it's implying that stories are applicable to different contexts, or that the truth being delivered to us keeps changing to fit whatever we apparently need, that's up to debate. By now I'm even getting the feeling that some of the stuff in the archives is not historic, but is masquerading as such to throw us off. I mean, that Athena Reborn novel obviously fits that category, but other than that... This puzzle is again very nice. It seems large, but it's centered around one particular variation we haven't seen yet. It lets me explore, see the crux of the puzzle from all angles, and work it all out in my head while I fill time. Speaking of filling time, the second log from this hub are lyrics to a song. Sadly, the video file isn't available anymore, but it got 24 million views, so this is an example of one of those not entirely superlative bits of our human history rising to the surface. Ads did say they were looking forward to the sands. I do like how this game considers the fact that the person playing it might not be entirely enjoying all the puzzles, and be focused more on the text and scenery. It doesn't come right out and say, haha, isn't this contrived and difficult? I've seen that before, and there's rarely a context in which it works. So yeah, this song. Just because it had 24 million views doesn't mean I should recite it. I suppose there are countless videos with more views than that I haven't seen. I'm not proud of it, I can just tell from a huge distance what's going to interest me or not. For example, I've seen like a quarter of the Gangnam Style video, because my little brother insisted on showing me over Christmas. Here's this puzzle being wrapped up then. It's basically the quantum entanglement puzzle, but with one laser. So, we've got to keep the past alive. I'm not an archaeologist. I'm not into historical research or even renovation. All I have are lyrics and recording technology, and the stalwart defense that none of this really matters. So, here we go. I've got it, you've got it, he's got it, she's got it, mummy's got it, daddy's got it, baby's got it, granny's got it, laddies, got it, fatties, got it, happies, got it, sappies. Got it, everybody, everybody's got it, come on. Jack's got it, Fred's got it, Bob's got it, Dog's got it, dog is fine. It's a dog. Everybody's got it except dog. We've got it. We've got it. We've got it. Everybody's got it. I'm putting way too much effort into this series. Apologies to my neighbours. I graciously accept this accolade. This video might now end up with 24 million views. It would serve me right. I don't even have the excuse of the apocalypse. I'd never wish for an apocalypse, but if one was to occur, now would be a good time. Philosophy. I can do philosophy. Well, a pebble is more surmountable. Oh, that's not an option. Besides, I kind of phase through both. I mostly don't want to say a tree's alive because that's what I'm expected to say. But really, what else can I say here? On second thought, since it's a simulation, perhaps the top one would be more appropriate, but no reconsiderations. Oh, now what's this? I'm not prepared to say a frog is conscious. That's what I get for having so much insightful discussion. I'm just confused now. Well, the first one was free, but now I'm going to have to spoil things. I'm not prepared to say. Anything could happen at this rate. How long does it take a frog to evolve again? I know that's a dumb question. Screw these mind games, Milton. Talk to me properly. Frog to frog. We're all frogs here. I jump like one. Agreed. That sounds fair enough. The best yardstick I had was what have we done so far that animals haven't, and I'd make much more pleasant roadkill. Sorry, my mouth seems to be a bit full of words. So I'd say consciousness is beyond feelings and senses. It is outside my area of expertise, but it doesn't seem helpful to say so. I think I've looked all I can at the animal angle for now. So sure, I am me, and no one else can say the same. Well, they can, so long as they're talking about themselves. Fine, it's a whole string of processes that allow me to recognize myself, and then make that claim. You can have neurons without consciousness. It's not beyond the laws of physics. Never mind the soul. The third text log is titled Immortality, and it talks about stuff we've already talked about, but in broad, sweeping terms. It's a blog entry by someone who hasn't come to terms with dying, and he says that anyone who says you wouldn't really want to be immortal is a pseudo-philosopher, and everybody does. He does finish off on an interesting note by saying maybe everybody deserves to live forever too, which is a good stance to take, or at least a stance that everybody should start from. It's why all these are animals people conversations worth having. Cognitively excluding someone or something from a group should be done with tremendous care, if history's taught me anything. This puzzle is fairly self-explanatory. It's about being thrifty, or applying resource management, however you want to say it. Again, the solution to this one was just there. I didn't even have to think about it. I'm good at seeing the forest fire for the woods. The room itself is called Third Wheel. This last one's basically a paperweight. Once again, there's a room straight across. You know the drill. The fourth text log summarizes mutation. It's an error in a genome's nucleotide sequence that more than likely does nothing, or else causes deformity or death. But sometimes it's functional, gives the organism an advantage, and is more likely to be passed along. We're talking minuscule changes though, so the time it takes for anything substantial to happen is millions of years, although things like bacteria exposed to antibiotics can undergo a much quicker rate of mutation. The text log doesn't hide the analogy with versions of computer systems, artificial intelligence included. This was almost exciting. I found some solid rubble. The plan was to tilt it up, giving me just enough height to escape these confines once more, but it didn't quite work out. It was a struggle deciding to cut out an enthralling 5 minutes of playing with boxes. Hooray, we earned our fan, and I found a practical application for firing this jammer through some barriers. 10 episodes later, my speculation paid off. Though at this rate, it's probably faster to complete the puzzle normally. I was so stupidly pleased with myself. It's the little things. Anyway, us robots are also undergoing a series of mutations. The version numbers, one with Faith being 10, Sheep is 69, Samsara is 72, I'm 99, and Axide helpfully spelt out that these versions imply a change that broke pre-existing code. So there's probably whole ways of thinking that previous versions could do that I can't now, but I'm probably better off for it. The less important numbers are changes that don't impact pre-existing code, or are just minor bug fixes. So an important thing to keep track of is whether my version number changes throughout the game, as surely I'm adapting all the time, not just after being destroyed, or when I reach the end. I'm sure there were some programs that ran into the middle of that after coming this far. The hidden text in the log does say life from error, after all. So I've stolen a box. Now what? This lets me circumvent them, but I can't take anything with me. I keep trying to jump on razor edge platforms after watching too many FPS games. That'll be my undoing. I'm smart enough not to get struck from behind, though. Ooh, Samsara. We read a message from them before, saying they were reliving moments. The epitaph says they timed out. I don't even know what that means. I doubt they even came close to my periods of seeming inactivity. So the solution to this room is... well, it's not intuitive, that's for sure. Still, it didn't take me long to try it out in the face of nothing else to do. Well, what's the lesser evil? Not balancing a box on an orb, or having the mines look less mind-shaped? Moving on, the fifth log is a fairly sweet email from Trevor Donovan, who is the EL hardware project lead, to Alexandria, basically saying, in really informal terms, that EL has a huge capacity, enough for a couple of centuries even. Yeah, about that. I don't know whether that's supposed to explain away the glitchiness. It at least sort of explains away how, considering there must be hundreds of thousands of iterations of us, there are relatively few messages and the like. All of the output is actually being devoured by later programs.
Cease!
Maybe it also explains why there's only that one recording. It wasn't running from anything, Elohim. It was running into a puzzle. What's your problem? My only guess is that that was also a recording of Elohim, which again implies that he's just part of the system. I was looking for the most irritating place to put my next message. So Elohim has also evolved over time. Maybe he used to be a lot more smiteful. Ah yes, behind the starting point, in the shadows. That's how we do it. A lot of this is stating the obvious, although the tower thing could be useful to others. I'm somewhat temporarily obsessed, though. I mean, there was that talking frog princess, right? I've discussed it, there's precedence. I'm not just talking at random. It finally happened. These became somewhat more difficult. My tactic, if you can call it that, is to move things without trying to solve the whole puzzle at once, and just rely on luck. The last lock, then, is everything I've already said about evolution. It takes great pains to point out that it's not instantaneous. It can't be applied to individual beings. To that effect, the secret text simply says, iteration. An individual is just a speck of grit, making up a slab in a pyramid. There might be millions at the top, but it had to go through trillions in order to get there. And the ones at the top, maybe they aren't even at the peak, they're only halfway up. Maybe the rest of the pyramid is all made of metal and can't solve Tetris puzzles. And the pattern emerges. I couldn't reproduce it if you paid me. Join me, the point of life in this land of death, next time, when I almost certainly won't be going on to Hub 2, because distractibility is not always a flaw.